Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Beyond Second Cognition. I'm Beall. The topic of this discussion is, do you want to see the world change for the better? Here's how it's done. Most people don't have the attention span to watch or listen to a video or podcast for much longer than about 3 minutes. It's a sad testimony to our culture with the instant gratification and hurry up and get to the end, give me my snapshot opinion for the day. But if you want to see the world change for the better, ladies and gentlemen, you can't sit back and wait for somebody else to change it for you, because you have as much responsibility to help change this for the better as any of the politicians you elect, any of the priests or preachers that you follow, any of the gurus you follow. And if you think some heavenly force is going to come down here and do it for you, you're wrong. Now I know this upsets you, having to be confronted with this, but I ask your patience to at least listen to this video production past the 3-minute short attention span mark, and maybe you will learn something of value. Leastways, that's my intent by producing this. You see, everybody wants to see the world change for the better, but nobody wants to take responsibility to contribute to these changes by changing themselves. Everybody wants the world to change for the better, but they don't have any responsibility for it. It's like the magic wand is going to wave and the world is going to be better, but you're going to be exactly the same as what you are, and you're entitled to step into this new, better world without doing a thing on your own. You just want somebody to do it for you so you can gain the benefit from it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what's called entitlement mentality. And the vast majority of humanity, like 99.999%, expects this. They want somebody to do it for them so they don't have to take responsibility to do it themselves. Now I'm going to ask you to ask yourselves, if you don't do anything to contribute to change the world for the better, primarily by changing yourself for the better, then why should you think anyone should do it for you? An elected official, God, priest, preachers, imams, or whatever. Because if the world changes and you don't, then where are you going to be? You just going to be the odd man out, living like a dinosaur in an old world that refuses to change? Because that's kind of what the pattern has been throughout human history. Everybody wants somebody to do it for them, and then when they get up there, they don't do what they want you to do, and so you gripe and bellyache about it because you didn't get what you wanted. Sadly, this is the testimony of human history. So if you want to see change in the world, you're going to have to change yourself for the better. Because if you're unwilling to change yourself and the world changes and moves on without you, what makes you think that you have the entrance fee to be entitled to that new world that you contributed nothing to change? And I ask all of you to seriously contemplate this question. Why should you expect anybody to do the work for you when you won't do the work yourself? Why do you think that what you believe and what you think and what your political ideology is entitles you to a free pass into a new and better world if you don't lift a finger to change the world for the better? This, ladies and gentlemen, is called personal responsibility. Now, if you want to stay the same, like human consciousness unfortunately has done for the last 6,000 years or more, you're never going to see change. People are always going to relinquish their responsibility. They're not going to change themselves. They're going to continue in the same old patterns, relying on somebody else, some authority figure or some cosmic power to give to them what they should be doing for themselves. And if you're unwilling to make the changes in advancement to your consciousness, to make the world a better place by becoming a better person, what makes you think that you deserve a better world? And I'm not asking this question to be confrontational. I'm asking it because it bears serious consideration. And everyone needs to contemplate this. Because until people start taking responsibility for themselves, nothing's going to change. The pendulum is going to swing from one extreme to the other. We have the left on one side and the right on the other, and not a whole lot of common sense in between. Because both extremes want the world shaped in their image. They don't want to change. They want the world to conform to their ideologies. And the cosmos in the world doesn't spin around your personal desires. We have a lot of different people on this planet, a lot of different races, a lot of different cultures, and everybody is pulling against everybody else to make the world spin around their personal desires. And nobody wants to change. Everybody wants to stay exactly the same way they have always been and make the world conform to their beliefs. There's not going to be any change in the world with this kind of push me, pull you, ladies and gentlemen. Until you decide to genuinely change yourself for the better, nothing's going to change. You have a responsibility in your families, in your communities, in your countries at large, to help be an agent of changing the world for the better. And it doesn't come from clustering in herds and starting mass movements and protesting in the street and burning witches or whatever the ideology you profess caters to. Because that's just staying the same, ladies and gentlemen. And nothing changes if everybody stays the same. I thought I would put this out here and clarify it for those that keep expecting the world to change for the better, but feeling that they don't have to do a darn thing to contribute to these changes, to where they lie completely content. Well, I have my belief, I have my ideology, and I'm going to shape the world to my perceptions, and my herd says so. And every religion is a herd, and every political ideology is a herd, and every group organization is a herd. And so everybody wants a herd to follow them, and nobody wants to take responsibility for changing anything. They just put a different pattern, the same repeating different pattern on it, elect some authority figure, pray to some authority figure, and nobody changes anything. They all keep wishing for a better world, and nobody contributes an ounce of work required to make it a better world. And it starts with you individually, ladies and gentlemen. And until you take your personal responsibility to change yourself and make the world a better place by not being stuck in the same old psychological patterns, the world's going to stay the same. The pendulum will swing from one extreme to the other, as it always has, and nothing will ever get resolved, and everybody will scream for change, and nobody is willing to change themselves, and nothing ever happens. Our technology may advance, ladies and gentlemen, but our consciousness is stuck where it was 6,000 years ago. And until people decide to change their consciousness and their outlook and their perceptions for the better and take responsibility for themselves, you're not going to see your world change for the better. Even if the world were to change for the better and you stay rigid within your mindsets and your beliefs and your habits, the world that it might change into is going to be disagreeable to you because it doesn't cater to your ideologies. You don't shape the world to your desires and then complain when it doesn't change for the better. So for those of you doing the work, stay the course and don't give up on yourselves.